fixed gear bikes, or fixies, have one gear which is directly connected to the rear wheel. You are stuck in that gear no matter what. Hills are tough, downhills are spin fests, and standing starts are absolutely brutal. I can't get up the hill. But those drawbacks are one of the reasons why fixies have been considered a brilliant training tool by the performance-minded cyclist. So today, I'm heading out for a ride on my very own fixie to see if there are any benefits that we should still consider. Yeehaw! So this is the fixed gear bike that I am riding today. Single speed, of course. It's got a 44 tooth chainring on the front, 15 tooth on the back, and that rear gear is threaded directly to the rear hub and the rear wheel. So if you pedal forwards, wheel moves forwards, pedal backwards, the wheel goes backwards. And if you forget you're on a fixie and try to stop pedaling, the bike simply won't let you. People ride fixies for a variety of reasons, but the main one being is that they're pretty robust and easy to maintain. There's less parts on them. You have no shifters, no derailleurs, and for that reason, they're relatively cheaper than a usual geared bike too, which makes them a great option as a commuter or as a kind of workhorse bike that you're really going to use a lot of in the city centre, getting to work, to or from wherever you're going. This really is cycling in its purest form. The argument is that fixies improve your bike handling as you deal with the bike that's underneath you. They also make you pedal more efficiently and they increase your strength. But today I'm heading out on my very own ride because I want to find out if this is something that can be used as a training tool, or maybe the fact that fixies were considered beneficial to your riding was something of a myth. Anyway, there's only one way to find out. It's so strange having yourself just totally locked into the bike. Basically, just to get started, you have to do these tough standing start style efforts, really low cadence. And this happens obviously whenever you stop at traffic lights, junctions. And it's that kind of strength work that you're constantly working on. It is constantly shattering your muscles, which people say is a really great way of improving your strength on the bike, and I can see why that would be the case. You could argue that those tough standing starts in a gear that is much harder than you're used to could be replicated on a normal geared bike, just put it in a harder gear. But I think the key is with a fixie that you have no choice. You have to do that effort every time you get going. That's what makes it so difficult. But one key example for fixie use in the pro peloton, how it's been used to an advantage, you have to turn to Marco Pantani, a cycling legend. Now, unfortunately, a crash ruled him out for the 1996 season. Now, the crash Pantani suffered ended up being a really debilitating injury, and doctors at one point thought that he might not be able to walk again. He did go on to make a recovery, and it was said that he used a fixed gear bike in his training to make sure that as he built up his rides and focused on his recovery, he was making the most of his bad leg as well as his good, evenly spreading his power between both legs. As a fixie, you have to do that. You're fixed into the rear wheel and you've got no choice but to go with that smooth pedaling style. There's no room for stomping on the pedals or pedaling squares. As soon as you pick up a bit of speed, your cadence is high and you're pedaling away. I'm almost not putting any pressure on the pedals, but I'm just being forced into spinning really fast, and it just gets that muscle memory going once again. Any sort of descent, and you are absolutely spinning to win. Woo-hoo! It's definitely pretty exhilarating riding a fixed gear bike at speed. It's an experience, to say the least, and I would recommend it if you haven't tried it before. But I can see why that would really help your pedaling style, because it just teaches you to be so efficient when you're riding your bike, and it allows you to learn how to be really effective at putting the power down while spinning at a cadence you're not quite used to, so that when you do jump back across to your normal bike with gears, you should notice some improvements, and I can vouch for that being the case. I think you definitely see something, and it would allow you to pedal the bike in a much smoother fashion. Now though, I'm heading towards the slightly lumpier part of my route, and we're going to the other end of the spectrum, and I think you can tell where this might be heading, because whilst going downhill and on those flat, fast sections is a lot of fun, going uphill, I think, is going to be a different story on the Fixie. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna make it very slowly. Oh, my glutes, my legs, my core, my back, they all got a pretty big workout, and that is an incline, which I really wouldn't think that much of on my usual gear bike, but on this, it is an absolute beast. I guess my only concern would be that doing a lot of that would be a bit of an injury risk. If you have any sort of dodgy knees, I think riding like that is a surefire way to maybe do them a bit of damage. So I'm not quite convinced on that being a good thing. It's absolutely shattered from that. Now though, it's time for the reverse, because what goes up must come down. Okay, I'm about to descend back down into town. It's quite an alarming prospect, because obviously you've got no chance to freewheel, no chance to utilise the bike in the fashion that you normally would. When you bank over, you can put your foot out, lean into corners, and instead, as you build up speed, your cadence just increases and increases and increases, and you really have to learn to float with the bike. Your max speed's almost limited as well, because it's much harder to control the bike. Your cadence improves like this. And oh my goodness, this is a bit mad. Right, I'm just gonna concentrate on getting to the bottom. Ah! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Whoa! Oh my gosh, my heart is in my mouth. Whoa! Oh! Oh my God. Oh, that was quite scary. I think I'm gonna make it. Oh. Well, descending on a Fixie, definitely a slightly scary prospect. There was one point there where I was not in control of anything. But I can see why getting used to riding a bike like this on a downhill would be useful, mainly in a racing scenario when you have those moments when you are on your limit. Coming into a bunch sprint is a good example, and you're trying to get through certain gaps, trying to squeeze through. You don't want to let off the power, you want to keep pedaling and push through, and it's almost kind of teaching you to learn that flow of moving through those gaps whilst putting the power down, still pressing on the pedals. Hills and climbs, not for me. I think the downhills were just a bit too scary, and the climbs, you're just such a low cadence that it just puts, I think, too much stress on the muscles for me personally, but I can see why for others it might work. But I think the real advantage of the Fixie is improving your pedaling technique, making you a much more efficient rider. By working on that cadence, you're always locked into that rear wheel. You're pedaling at such a high cadence at times, you're always putting down that equal power between your left and your right leg, and I can really see why that would be beneficial. So if you are thinking about giving a Fixie a go, I think it's a great option for maybe an hour every other day or so. Great if you're riding to work, maybe getting about town, using it as your kind of workhorse bike. And because it is so easy to maintain and it's robust, it is perfect for that purpose. And whilst it is a tool to get you from A to B, at the same time, you're also going to work on a really important aspect of your riding. Now, pros, you might not hear them using Fixies too much these days out on the road, but it must be said that they are still riding these bikes on the track. A track bike is a fixed gear bike, and plenty of riders have gone from the track to the road. It's a pretty devastating fashion. So that is one strong argument about why riding a bike like this can really improve your riding and also your fitness and performance too. It's been a lot of fun riding one. It's been my first experience of one out on the road, as you may have guessed at times today. But let me know in the comment section below if you ride a Fixie, if you've ridden one in the past, what you think of them, do you love them? Let me know, get involved in the debate below. I'm a fan, but I think only on the flat, where there's no potholes, no big climbs, and no scary descents. But as I said, it's been a lot of fun riding one. I'm looking forward to getting a bit more acquainted with this bike now. Hope you enjoyed the video anyway. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.